Hey, welcome back to the Bentley Homestead. This is Kat Bentley, and we have a story for you today. I would like to share a story about how we have found our long lost son. And this story is about miracles and tender mercies and second chances. And this is our story that's been going on, and I felt impressed that I needed to share that with you. So, even though I'm a little sick, still getting over my sickness, this has been on my mind for days, and so I need to finally be able to sleep tonight. And the spirit needs to stop bothering me, so I'm going to put this video out there for the sake of following the promptings we get, because I have learned the hard way that when you don't follow the promptings, if we don't follow the promptings, the Lord doesn't bless us, and we don't keep getting those said promptings. So with no further ado, almost 2 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, we got an impression that we had another boy coming into our home. We didn't know anything about this boy. We just had the impression, as we have about all of from our previous children. Every single one of the foster kids I have gotten a prompting or had a dream about one of those kids. Every single one of them. So I have always known 6 months to a year prior to them coming that they're coming. So this was no different. So we got the prompting, and now looking back, I can honestly say we didn't prepare like we did for the other children. All the other children, we got beds and dressers and rooms set up and bedrooms arranged so that it was just a smooth transition when they came into the home. And this time we kind of took a different attitude. We just kind of went, okay, I don't know how that's going to work, but you know what? We'll deal with it when he gets here. We'll find a bed when he gets here. We'll get a dresser when he gets here. And we'll rearrange the room so that there's a place for him. And so that was our plan. So fast forward, we got the impression that he was coming. And then sometime after that, I got a phone call for a little boy who was medical. He had a colostomy bag, and he was being discharged from a hospital. I didn't know how long he'd been there for. I just knew that he was in a hospital and he was being discharged and he needed a home, and that they were trying to find someone for him and that no one was able to take him. And so I felt the spirit really strong. I said yes to take the child, and then proceeded to ask questions and find out more about the child. Come to find out a little bit more about him, I just remember the basics that I was like, oh, colostomy bag. Oh, wow. Okay, that's going to be a lot for me to handle. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but the spirit told me yes, so we're good. Got off the phone, called my husband, and he kind of immediately panicked and kind of immediately said, we are not in a position to take this kid right now, Kat. We don't have a place set up for him. We don't have anything ready. We would have to rearrange all of our rooms to accommodate him. We would have to move people downstairs, and we'd have to get another bed, another dresser. We're building a house right now. I'm there for the next few weeks. Like, this is high medical, Kat. I don't even know if you are going to be able to really handle all of this, if I'm going to be gone a lot. There was all these things. He's like, there's just no way we can take the kid. And I was like, I said yes. Like, I can't say no. Fine. So Ryan kind of scared me out of it, and I kind of like got talked out of him coming. And so I made Ryan call the lady back and say we can't take him. And so Ryan proceeded to tell the lady, and we didn't take the boy. So fast forward, I don't keep record of these kids if I don't take them. So fast forward till this June. So this past June, Ryan was pondering on life, and he was wondering whatever happened to that little boy. And so he's kind of like, hey, Lord, you said we had this boy coming. We've wondered where he's been. Whatever happened to him? Is he still coming? And then the Spirit answered him back. I did send him to you. You turned him away. And then it was brought to his recollection of that boy. And he was blindsided by it. And he had all these feelings that accompanied it, like, this is your son. You turned him away. I brought him to you. And like, Ryan felt this immense, deep love for this boy. So he calls me up a little while later because he's at work and he's working. And he's like, I have to tell you something. I am so sorry. I owe you a huge apology, and I am going to beg for your forgiveness. And I'm like, oh, crap. What did you do? Like, what could you have done that could, that you would need something like this? Like, we're good. What's the problem? And I'm thinking, oh, great. What's he going to tell me? he done something? Has he watched something on the internet? Is he doing something he shouldn't be? And he says, do you remember when you got that call for that boy and you said yes and I told you no? He goes, well, I was asking, and he explained what had just happened at work, and he's explaining this all to me, and the Spirit is just so strong with him on the phone, bearing witness to me, and he's crying, and I'm feeling the Spirit, and he's like, I feel like we're going to get a second chance at this boy. I love him already. And I'm like, okay, well, that's in the Lord's hands. He'll perform the miracles. Apparently, we're going to be getting a call soon for a boy. And that is not how it happens. So I just want to be clear. That is not how it ends up happening. And so that was in June. And then that was a Saturday night. He worked till like 1 a.m. that morning, got home at 2 a.m. And then we went to church the next morning. Church is at 9 o'clock. And we went through sacrament, and they had speakers. And we always sit next to each other. And the girls were sitting to the left of him, and the boys were to the right of me. And he was looking over just to check on the girls, and in the middle of sacrament meeting, he like looks over, and there's this boy sitting there, and the Spirit's like, this is your son, this is your son. And it's very overwhelming, and I'm feeling the Spirit all of a sudden really strong in church, and I'm like, it's got nothing to do with the talk. And so I'm like, why am I feeling the Spirit, like waiting for like, what is this? Why do I have this feeling? What's the knowledge behind it that's prompting this strong feeling of the Spirit? So I'm like, well, it's not me. Maybe it's Ryan, because I know from many experiences with my husband that I can feel it when he's feeling it, and vice versa. And so it's kind of really cool. And I look over at him, and sure enough, he is like intently looking at the speaker. And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure, just out of respect to the speaker, not much was being said that would invoke that kind of a feeling. And then he started to cry. I'm like, oh, it's him. He's feeling the Spirit. Wonder what's going on. I guess he'll tell me after church. And just so you know, when we sit in church, we sit like 4 rows from the front. And so usually like one other family that sits in front of us, and then like there's empty rows. And so we're right in the front. Everyone's behind us. And so like I try to make sure I'm aware that we don't want to be distracting while we're up there. I don't want people to be distracted by us. And so Ryan's like, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, can you wait? We're in the middle of church. And he's like, no, I've got to tell you now. So he's on my left. He like reaches over and pulls my head into his mouth, and he's like whispering in my ear, holding my head the whole time. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. Anyways, he starts to tell me, I just saw that little boy, and more was revealed to him. I'm leaving so much out, but something like stuff was opened up to him, and all the stuff was shown to him and told to him. I'll just say that. And he's telling me. And at first he's telling me, if we would have taken this boy, we would have had so many blessings, and this kid would have been a huge blessing to our family. And I'm just getting really upset, because I'm like, I have suffered so much this last year, almost 2 years, and you're telling me that could have been avoided? Are you kidding me right now? Like, I was pissed. So I kept trying to pull away from him, and he's like, no, I've got to tell you this. So I'm like, now I'm getting mad at you because you're pulling my head into you in the middle of church, and I don't want anybody to look at me right now. This is embarrassing. And then I calmed down, and he's telling me everything that he just saw, and the Spirit just overtakes, and I'm just almost weeping. I am having to now hold it in so that we're not both being hysterical in the middle of church. And I'm feeling this overwhelming love for this boy. This is my son. I have a love for this child, and I've never even seen the boy, met him, don't even have a name. And I cannot. Now I yearn for this child. There's now a place in my heart for him, and now I yearn for him. Okay, so we're like, okay, well, Lord, we're sorry. Please forgive us. Please, we talked about it after church and stuff too, and kind of got on our knees that night and please forgive us. Please give us a second chance you've told us we could have, and then we will prepare. And so then we proceeded to prepare. We quickly went and bought a bed and a dresser over the next little while for this child, and so that we were ready this time for when he came, and just kind of expected the Lord to give us a phone call. Someone would call us saying we have placement needed, and left it at that. And The only other thing that I did do at this time was I started to look. And so I did two things. I called the agency that calls all the foster families and asks us to take placement of children. And I called twice, got nothing over like a week's difference. I called within a week, 2 times. And then I finally emailed the lady that I knew had reached out to me before, who was with the company, in hopes that she would get back to me like a week later. Got nothing. Meanwhile, I also went on to, they have like a Missouri Heart Gallery page. And I was like, oh, I can get on there and I can look through the gallery and see if maybe the kid's on there. And didn't know which kid it was, didn't have a name. None of the kids said anything about having anything medical. And so I just was like, well, that sucks. So the lady got back to me via email and she's like, that case is on hold. He is in a therapeutic treatment situation or something. And she basically just said, good luck. Maybe you're going to be maybe you can be a foster parent to somebody else like him. And she wouldn't give me any information. And she said she couldn't. And so I emailed her back a couple times. And I'm like, we have medical. My husband's a paramedic. Like, we'd be great for this kid. And she would not budge. She would not give me even a caseworker. I asked for a caseworker's name. I go, even if you gave me the caseworker's name and I talked to her, she doesn't have to give me any information about the boy, just so that they know that we are here and we are available to take this child. We just want to make sure he has a home, and we want to make sure that we're given this opportunity. We feel like he's supposed to be with us. We're available. We can take him. So I kept getting on for the next month. This is all of June. Finally, end of June, I get this into all of July. I keep getting these impressions very strongly. Get on that website. Get on that website. So I keep getting on the website. And it's a gallery of kids that are available for adoption that are in the foster care system. And so I keep getting on there, and these kids are very vague on what their things are. They don't share medical things, that they share like a picture and a little bio, what they like to do, what grade they're in. That's it. And then they kind of like recommend, oh, this is a 1-kid family. Don't have any older siblings. They'll say little things like, nicely, these kids are a lot to deal with. And finally, I kept seeing this like one kid, and some of the kids have like a video on them. Like at one point they were highlighted on our local news as like available for adoption. So I click on the video and there's this one really cute kid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. And I kept like looking at his shirt to see if he showed anything, any sign of like something on his abdomen, like a colostomy bag, like kind of like you could see that there was something there, and you couldn't see anything there. So I got an impression, oh, inquire about this kid. Even though I did not feel he was the kid, I felt like if I inquired about this kid directly, then somebody from that website would get back with me. So I inquired about that kid, and then I also threw in my inquiry, I'm actually looking for this other kid. I don't have a name, I have an age and a condition. If you could point me in the right direction on him, he's who I'm really looking for. And so about a week or two later, I actually got a reply back. This is now July of this year. And I was told the kid's name. And I was also told everything about the other kid that I inquired for. And it was this huge, long list of stuff that I would never bring into my home. I will just say that right now. Bless that kid. Oh my gosh, he is so cute. But that stuff that he was dealing with is not for my home. And he's older than most of my kids. And so there's just no way I was bringing him in. And they give you everything on that kid. And so I was like, holy cow, it's not him. But she goes, but this other kid, I believe his name is this. And his case is on hold right now. And so I had a name. I'm not going to say the name. But I have his name now, his first name, not his full name. And I have that his case is on hold. Never heard of a case being on hold before. Didn't even know what it meant. That's all she'll tell me. She won't, again, this lady now won't give me any information either. I give her the same spiel. Oh my gosh, we're a paramedic family. Like, my husband's a paramedic. We can handle this case. Please, please, please. Like, because I'm just trying to let them know we're eager to get this kid. And we can handle this. We've got credentials. So anyway, I digress. So then I'm like stuck. And so then I reach out to my licensing worker. I reach out to a couple other people and I'm like, okay, I want to find this kid. Can you help me? And both people at Foster Adopt were like, no, we can't give you any of that information. We're not allowed to. And I'm like, this is so dumb and weird. Like, I want to know where this kid is. Even if you don't tell me where he's at least tell me who his caseworker is so I can inquire about possibly placing him with me. Like, this is an inquiry. Like, this isn't some weird nosy, I just want to know what's going on with this kid. This is, I want to place him with us. And so no one would budge. And so I'm stuck again. I get a little further and then that's it. And so anyway, I am at the temple August 16th of this last month. And I'm feeling this urgency. Ryan and I are both feeling this urgency that we've got to get this kid into our house. And I'm thinking of all the logistics. School starting on the 20th. It's the 16th. We need to get this kid in our house soon. Like, that's not fair to him to take him out of the school year in the middle of the school year. If this takes too long, we've got to find him. And then as we're leaving the temple, like again, I told you we had a name now. I put his name in the temple. We went, as we were leaving the temple, I got the strong impression, call your caseworker's supervisor and she'll be able to help you. Like, it was very strong impression. I needed to call her that for some reason she would be able to help me. And I just want to say my caseworker is amazing. She's just new. And so she's not going to be able to help me. She's just still learning the ropes. And so it makes logical sense why I would call her supervisor, because she doesn't know, she's still learning the ropes. And so I call Monday morning and I wait till like 10 because I know the office opens at 9. I wait till 10. I call her. I'm like, sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. She's an amazing lady. I have this kid's name. Can you please tell me if you can find him for me? And she's like, I can't do anything without a last name. I have a huge database of 500 kids. And by the way, if he's not in our agency, he could be in any of the other agencies, and I don't have access to their files. I only have ours. And just for context, like, the fostering system, there's 11,000 kids in the system in our area. And so if there's only 500 kids, she's got like 5% of the cases to look through. It's a needle in a haystack. So I'm like, well, who can I call that can give me that information? Who has access to all of the different agencies that are contracted out to take these cases? And she's like, call Children's Division. And she says, oh, and to make sure that you get on Foster Adopt Connect Loop Facebook page and inquire on there. Maybe you can find the current family or placement on there. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I remember that website. I haven't been on there in a long time. I highly doubt I'm going to find anything on there. So I got on the phone with her. I get back on that Facebook website because I'm like, I don't want to do it, but I'm like, you do this. You do what she said to do. You are directed to her. You do everything she said to do because you just don't know. Even though I'm like, this isn't going to pan out. I get on there, I make an inquiry. I'm looking for this kid name. So-and-so, anybody have him? Colostomy bag, ages 8 to 11. I'm inquiring to see if he ever found placement. We are open and we wanted to just make sure he had a home. And I leave it at that. I get back on and call Children's Division. I get directed to a secretary lady, someone answering the phones. And I say the same thing I just said to her. Who can I talk to in your division that can help me find this kid? And she's like, well, here's the person. I'll forward you to them. But is it this kid? And she gave me a first and a last name of this kid. And I'm like, how would you know that? There's 11,000 kids. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's him. So I wrote the name down. And so I left a message with the lady she forwarded me to. And I'm like, you know what? I got tired of waiting to hear back from this lady. It had been like an hour. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call the supervisors again. And so I called the supervisor. I'm like, hey, I've got a number. I know you're busy. Or a name. Will you please put this name into your system and see if anything comes up? She put the name into the system. The name came up. She goes, girl, you are so lucky. He just got transferred to our company this morning before you called me. He wasn't on here before now because it shows, I guess, all that information. I'm like, no way. So she was the key. And by the way, she got back to me. The other lady didn't get back to me for like 2 more days. And so the best part was, I'm like, okay, she gave me all the information I needed. She gave me contact information for the current caseworker. And again, I didn't hear back from that caseworker either for a little while either. So then meanwhile, I get back on Facebook and I'm like, I'm just going to go see if anyone's even reached out on my post. And lo and behold, the current placement provider, the current foster mother of this boy, replied to my message like within 15, 20 minutes and was like, I have him, PM me. And I'm like, okay. So we're messaging back and forth, and you have to be careful because this is a child in a home with a family. I can't just be like, well, I'm here to take your child. No, I can't do that. And so I am very delicate. I'm like, I understand that he's with you, and with all due respect, I'm not trying to take him from you, but we were inquiring. We were supposed to, we were wanting to make sure he found a home, which it sounds like he did. And we were inquiring because we would like to take him, but it sounds like he's already with you guys. And she's like, actually, he's up for adoption. And we haven't ruled that out yet, but at this point, we have not decided to adopt him. And so that is on the table, but we haven't thought it through very much. We aren't sure. And then as we got talking for the next 24 hours, I got to know everything I needed to know about this boy. And oh my gosh, there is way more going on with this kid than just the colostomy bag. There is a GI tube. There is RAD, which is reactive attachment disorder. There's autism. There's ADHD. I also learned that he was living in the hospital for 2 years prior to him living with this family. So he had been in a hospital with nobody, no family. Like ages 6 to 8. Or no. He was with her from about 6 to 8. So he would have been about 4 to 6 living in that hospital. I'm just guesstimating there. Those could be off by a couple months or something. And so he was literally living in a hospital and with nobody. Okay? And then he went to live with her. So this is a very delicate situation. We got to talking. We both agreed that maybe the best thing to do would be to do respite. And this is just moms talking. This isn't the caseworker coming in and deciding things. This isn't a team. This isn't the team. This is just that. And so I agreed to that. And so we took him that weekend, the following weekend. She prepped me on everything I needed to know. She told me what I would need to do and how to care for him. And so then I got him that weekend. This is 2 weekends ago. So the first weekend went crazy. It went great, but it went crazy. He stayed with us, great the first night. The next morning he slept in and his bag busted in the bed. And so then I had to clean the mess up. So I walk into the room, and I'm going to say this quickly, but there was so much more going on because I don't do well with messes. I don't do well with medical. I don't do well with any of that stuff. It's very stressful. It's very overwhelming. I would pass out if somebody got a deep enough cut on their knee. Like, I just don't handle it stuff. I shake if I bleed too much. Like, I'm like, I can't handle the sight of blood. Like, I freak out. So I, know the Lord will help me with this, but I just trying to have faith in him because I know I personally can't do this. And so his bag busted, and I went to wake him up, and he realized the bag busted, and he kind of freaked out on me. And I was like, I was kind of like, I wanted to freak out, and I wanted to leave the room, but it's like someone else took over and stepped in and was like, no, you've got this. And this calm came over me. And all of a sudden I felt like a 40-year veteran nurse. Like, I've got this. All of a sudden I literally felt like, oh, it's okay. Buddy, I deal with poopy diapers all the time. We all go to the bathroom. Poop is poop. Like, it's okay. This is nothing I've ever dealt with because it was all over the bed. It was all over him. It was all dried and caked to his back. It was a mess. And I had to figure out how to get him off the top bunk into the bathroom down the hallway and not get it all over the floor, all over the bed even more. And my floor is white carpet. Like, I'm not cleaning that out of carpet. And so we figured it out. I got him calmed down and talked, and I was completely calm. And I kept going, this is not me. This is not me. I'm not calm in these situations. What the heck? And so I took him to the bathroom. We cleaned it all up in the tub. It was a mess, okay? It took me hours, like a couple hours, to clean out the sheets, clean out his clothes, clean him off. We got him cleaned off first, and then we dealt with the sheets afterwards. So we got him cleaned off first, and then the next thing that happened was Then he needed to put on a new bag in a whole new situation. And so I had never done this stuff before. So I said to him, okay, your mom said that she's trained you to be able to do this. I can help. What do you need me to do? And it was like this weird, fascinating, very touching moment for me. I mean, I saw the site, I saw the colostrum, I saw the things. It's your intestines sticking out of your abdomen like this much, and it's bright red. It's raw inner, organs, and so normally that stuff would like put me into shock. I was fine. I was calm, and I'm like, "What do you need me to do?" And he handed me the bag, and there's like this little circular-looking, silicone-looking sticker, and it goes around the site that it sticks around his colon. Or ostomy, whatever this is called. See, I don't even know the right words for it. And then the bag sticks to that, so it's stuck to his body. He's like, I need you to sit on this. I'm like, what? Sit on it? I was like, this is weird. He's like, yeah, I need you to sit on it. It makes it warm so that when it's not cold on there, it doesn't hurt. And he goes, it helps it stick better. His mom taught him that. His foster mom taught him that. Kudos to her. She's learned all this stuff over the years. So then I'm sitting on these things, and then he's like, okay, he's sitting there on the floor and laying on the floor, and he's like getting out all of his things that he has. He has me cut the site bigger for him, and then he's got like some weird sponge looking thing with some kind of like sanitizing. It's not iodine, but it's something else to like sanitize the site. And then he's putting some powder on the site, and then he's like doing all these different things. I don't even remember it all. And he's like, okay, hand me this, hand me that. And I'm like, okay. Like it was like this cute little moment. And I don't know how to explain it. Like I fell in love with this kid in this moment. It was like my heart just opened, and I was just like poured out with love for this kid. And so we get that all taken care of. And then I go back to spending literally a couple hours washing the sheets twice. I had to rinse it all out, get the stuff so that it didn't go down the drain, and put it in the toilet because it's like chunks of food. And like not fully digested food because, as you know, it's not going through the whole process in his body. And then I had to clean out the whole tub. It like was layered with like this, like a mucusy kind of like sticky stuff. And there was just like, you could see it just instantly made my whole tub dirty. So I had to like scrub that sucker, clean it out. It was a lot. And then I had to wash the sheets twice. I had to put shower on them twice. I still didn't get the stains out. Like, this is not going to be fun, right? The whole time I'm going, okay. At this point, I really should be taking a moment to go into my room and have a breakdown. And I still kept getting that feeling, no, you're good. You got this. You don't need to have a breakdown. You don't need to have a breakdown. You're fine. It was the Lord took over. I'm not kidding you. I'm sure it was a guardian angel there on behalf of the Lord, but it was not me. I promise you. Okay, so got through that first weekend. Oh, the other cool thing that happened that weekend was we go to church on Sunday, and I had to go sub in primary. And so he had to go to his primary class, and I was like, oh, you know what? I probably got to let his primary teacher know, what to expect, or at least know what his conditions are, just so that if they need to come and get us, they can come find us. So I go to tell and just drop this information on his primary teacher, and she's like, I deal with these kids in school. She teaches these kids in school, okay? Autistic, special needs, medical needs, stuff like that. And I'm like, there's no way. Because if he comes to live with us, that'll be his teacher. And like God orchestrated that. So fast forward. Then we go take him home that night. I have a great conversation with his foster mom. I love that woman already. She is amazing. She has 7 kids, 6 that live at home. All of them are autistic. And all of them have major medical issues. I'm talking tracheotomy. I'm talking can't get out of the bed, into the bathroom by themselves, need a wheelchair, need someone to do everything for them, another ostomy bag, all these things. All of them are autistics, one schizophrenic, like high. She is a therapeutic foster home. And she takes like the high need children. She has nurses in her home day and night. She has therapists in her home all the time. This woman is like a saint. Oh, she's a single mom, by the way. And so she's adopted all of her kids except for him. And so, anyways, so she's a saint. She's like a Mother Teresa, if you ask me. And yeah, so then we start talking all that next week. We're preparing for him to come to me for the next weekend. It's just been great. We're all kind of getting a plan together. She's still trying to debate what she's going to be doing. And then I take him this last weekend. So this is what's great. I get and pick him up Friday night. Bring him home, and an hour after I brought him home, I'm in the middle of making dinner, and his bag busts while he's trying to clean it and dump it, because you have to dump it. And so once it fills. And so I'm summoned to the bathroom in the middle of, like, I'm literally in the middle of cooking on the stove, and I have to, like, turn everything off and everything. And it's like, oh, great. And so I go in there and I clean up the mess, and it's everywhere. It's on everything. It's just splattered everywhere. And so I had to clean all that up, and yeah, I did lose my appetite after that for dinner. I didn't eat much of my dinner that night because that was hard. That's okay. It was fine. We dealt with it. Again, the calm was there. So then the weekend's great, and then we go to church on Sunday. Now it's Fast Sunday, and we get into fast and testimony meeting. We're fasting, of course, and I instantly, as the bishop's turning the time over to us, I feel impressed that I need to get up and bear my testimony. Funny thing, I literally was going to be the first one to get up. I promise you. I was literally about to stand, and both my son and my husband both beat me to it and got up there and bore beautiful testimonies. And then a bunch of other people were getting up while they were speaking, so I'm like, holy crap. So then finally I get up, like I'm like the fourth or fifth person to speak, and maybe I was even fifth or sixth. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I get up there and feel impressed to share a testimony. I share this testimony about family history work and temple work. And I share the experience I had a few weeks ago in the temple where we were doing Ryan's canon side of his family names. And we were sealing a Nicholas canon to his parents. And he's like 1400s, 1600s. I believe in the testimony meeting I said something else. I put the wrong date in there. I mixed it up with some other family names we've done earlier. He's actually like 1400 or 1600. It's not as far back as some of the names that my mother-in-law's found. We're in the temple doing these sealings and sealing this boy to his parents. Ryan and I are the proxy parents, and the sealer asks a gentleman to get up and be the son, proxy for Nicholas Cannon. And lo and behold, after we do the ordinance, the guy goes, by the way, my name is Nicholas Cannon. So Nicholas Cannon was sealed for Nicholas Cannon. Then we find out that they're related. Brian and him are both descendants of Captain George Cannon, who is the father of George Q. Cannon. Ryan is a descendant of George Q. Cannon, but this guy isn't. He's like through another son or child. I don't know. We don't know who. Obviously a son because his last name was Cannon. I mean, and the orchestration of that coming together at this time, at this night, they weren't even supposed to be there that night in the temple doing sealings. They were supposed to be an endowment session that they were late for, and they missed their endowment session. It was fascinating. So I'm bearing my testimony about that. And then I talk about COVID and how we were at home doing at-home church during quarantine, and how we had a sacrament meeting in our home. And so we were doing a fast and testimony meeting at home because that's where we could do it. And my husband opened up the meeting, and my son, both feeling our ancestors being in the room, and that they had ancestors that were there with ancestors that were investigating the church and were here to listen to our family's testimonies. Holy cow, never had an experience like that in my life. The testimonies that we bore, the spirit that was felt, our conviction, our spirit, our own testimonies were just powerful. It just was a very special testimony meeting, and just through the roof. The spirit was so strong in this home. So I'm bearing my testimony about that. While I'm bearing my testimony about that, the spirit bears witness to me, because by the way, my little son, respite son at this point, I don't even have him in my home full time yet, is sitting there in the audience. While I'm sharing this experience, the spirit bears witness to me that my ancestors and his ancestors are all there. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them are there. And somebody on both sides or in that group of ancestors are there investigating and are here to listen to my testimony. And so I was overcome with the spirit bearing witness to this to me. And then in turn, I was able to almost have this unbridled spiritual experience of bearing my testimony, which was very simple. I simply said to the audience, the congregation, I said, what if your ancestors were here today to listen to your testimonies? And they were investigating the church. And I said, mine are here today. I can bear witness of that. And then I bore that testimony, and I said, I have a testimony of God the Father, and I kind of butchered that a little bit. I said, I have a testimony of God the Father. If we have a Father in heaven who loves us. And I said, we have and his Son, Jesus Christ. And I go, those are simple, simple phrases, but they are powerful. And I bore witness of that. And I cannot tell you, it took everything in me to get the words out, to say them. It took everything in me just to stand still. I was overcome by the Spirit. It was powerful. And not everybody knows what was going on in that room. So that happened. Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm fasting. This isn't, it's my PMS time of month, if you will. So I'm very, very drained by the Spirit. Drained because I'm fasting, and drained because it's that time of month that I always have to eat more, and I'm always fatigued that time of month anyways. And I've been asked by my foster son's current foster mom, to come bring him home early today because he's got therapy. And also she wants to have me come a little early to show me and have me do the G-tube. And at this point, I knew about the G-tube. I couldn't even remember what it was. Like, I had forgotten. I know she told me and I looked it up, but I had already forgotten all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I better go look into it. So we get home from church after that amazing sacrament meeting, and we, second hour, and then we go home. And I'm anticipating this next part, so I go watch a video on G-tubes and how to take them out and replace them and all this stuff. And instantly I'm overwhelmed, and I'm scared to death. Like, fear, no faith right now, like scared to death. How the heck am I going to do this? This is very intimidating, and I am literally terrified of having to do this. And I need to know how to do this. I got to show her that I can step up and do this stuff. She's not going to let me take this kid if I can't do this stuff. So I have a breakdown after church and just start crying, and I'm like, I can give you a blessing if you want. I'm like, yes, please. And we're like trying to leave and get out the door to go see her. I get a blessing, and I'm blessed with strength and the ability to do this and to be able to like handle this and not have and be able to focus and learn and be able to do all of this. So we get there, we do everything. She actually doesn't remove the bag because it doesn't need to be removed, but she showed me how to attach the syringe and attach the feeding tube and the drip that, like, when you do like a IV, like there's all these different ways to do it and how to do it. She has a little machine that helps you know what settings to push, all this stuff. It was wonderful. And so, I was hyper-focused, I was calm, I was engaged, I learned everything. I can probably tell you how to do everything pretty accurately at this point. And then after that, we left, and she proceeded to do therapy with him with the therapist, where they sat him down and told him what the plan was and how we would like to adopt him, and that they weren't getting rid of him, and that it was kind of like they're not going to make him do anything, but that this was probably what was going to happen. And so that now that's given him time to process it. So that was last week. So those are the miracles, the finding him, the caseworker having that information, an hour after they transferred the case over to that company, when it wasn't even there before that day. The fascinating information of me being able to find the mom and talk to her, because she's who got things going. We were taking care of all this respite before we still haven't met as a team. We're meeting this next week as a team to do a meeting that's going to be about his care and transitioning over to living with us and everything else that entails. We've also got to be licensed into level B. We were only level A in medical. Level B is like way different. That's everything else. And so now we've got that all scheduled. We've got trainings for all this month and a couple in October. So we will be trained to handle him and that level of care that goes with. So all of these things, you can see the tender mercies, and then to have the experience with the ancestors and his ancestors. It's all orchestrated. The Lord's got, to me, I swear, he's got one big chess game up there that he's just moving his pieces around. And all these miraculous orchestrations keep happening, and it just blows my mind. So another thing I didn't mention was, after I found him and I found the mom and I had the name, I got back on the website, and I'm like, is he on this website? And guess what? He's on the website. And I will put that on here real quick. I'm going to put that right here. He's on the website. He is literally underneath that other kid that I looked up and inquired about initially. He is the kid right underneath him, and I'll put that up here. I screenshot it. blew my mind. I was one kid off of that kid. And he was on there. And that, again, you go onto his site, it says he's younger because the thing is older. Like, it looks like it's at least a year old, whenever they put him on the site. It doesn't say anything about his medical condition. It doesn't allude to any of that. And so, I mean, like I said, I was close. I was a kid off because it's this kid and then he's right underneath the kid. I'm like, no flipping way. So I screenshot all that. And anyway, he meshes really well with our family. He gets along really well with Braden and him are like inseparable. Him and Braden and Anton all have the same interests. They're all good friends. Anton's a little bit older, so there's a little bit of that like asserting dominance. I'm a little older than you. You need to know the rules of the house. There's that going on there. But they all have the same interests. They love to play and hang out in video games and Pokemon and Legos. They are just ingrained in all that wonderful stuff. So he's a great, great fit for our family. Okay, so that is our story. That is the miracles of finding our long-lost son. We are still in the process. Next steps, we'll share more later. Thank you for stopping by. Please share if this had any effect on you or if you've had similar experiences with going on unconventional journeys that the Lord has sent you on. And if I could say one thing, I would say, please follow those promptings, heed them. Go do the unconventional things. That is the way the Lord works. In unconventional ways, he doesn't do things by the book. And that's what I've learned more and more. And I do feel that we could have been severely blessed these last couple of years with him in our home. And, you know, we don't know what that all would have looked like. But I do know that I'm grateful for a second chance. And the Lord is a God of mercy and justice and tender mercies. And to me, this is a tender mercy. And yeah, can't wait to get him into our home full time and to adopt him and to eventually unite our families and be sealed. So that's the plan. And I have a testimony of that. I have a testimony that God gives you what you need to take care of these kids. Because as I've told you, I should not have had those reactions to those situations. And God has given me everything I have needed to take care of this kid up until this point. And I know he continually will. And I say that and I leave that with you. So thanks for stopping by. You guys take care.